Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing Love Guaranteed from Netflix. So Love Guaranteed is a new romantic comedy that has premiered on Netflix, and it is basically the story of this guy who wants to challenge a clause that is in an internet dating site's terms of service. They say in their terms of service that you can go on 1,000 dates and you will find love guaranteed. But then it turns out that he's on his 900 and something date. He hasn't found love, so he approaches a lawyer, and it does get pretty predictable from that point on. I have to say, while the premise is a little interesting, it's a little unique. You do get to see where it's going to happen. Within the first 15 minutes of the film, you know how everything's going to play out. It's very formulaic when it comes to romantic comedies. It feels very similar to something that you would see on the Hallmark Channel. It's warm and fuzzy, it's very consumable, but there's not a lot of depth to it. The writing is very generic. The acting is okay, but it's very paint by numbers in my opinion. One of the things I actually found really interesting is this movie is directed by Mark Steven Johnson, who directed the Daredevil film in 2003 as well as Ghost Rider. So it's kind of weird seeing him doing a film like this. Rachel Lee Cook plays Susan, who's the lawyer in the film. She carries the film pretty well. She has a charisma to her. She's a likable character. As the story moves along, you get to grow with her. It's more about, her personal growth and the growing of love between the characters in the film. Damian Wayans Jr. plays the male lead in the film, Nick. And he brings his style of comedy. I've always enjoyed his style of comedy, whether it be on New Girl or the other films that he's been in. And I think he brings that charisma to the role. They just don't have a ton to work with. I think their chemistry is okay. It's not amazing. It doesn't, fly off the screen. But they do have some chemistry together. I think they work well off of each other. And while this movie is a romantic comedy, I don't think there's a lot of laugh out loud moments in it. It's not really that funny. It has some small moments of humor, particularly between the two main leads. There's also a reoccurring joke with a song by Tiffany, which I think is pretty funny because I think that song's fantastic. But they kind of run everything into the ground. It's really basic. There's not a lot of depth to it. I think if you're someone who just wants some really consumable film, if you're someone who enjoys something that, you may see on the Hallmark Channel, I don't even know if this is necessarily on the same level as those movies, because those movies lean into what they are, they embrace what they are. This movie at times I feel tries to punch above its weight, and it just really can't. It just has a really basic script, and there's really not a lot for me to say about it, honestly. The antagonist of this movie, the CEO of this company, she's just really unlikable. They obviously make her to be an incredibly unlikable character. She's really stereotypical, though. She's like the new age, dumb, blonde woman who has all this money and doesn't care about anybody, and she's so fake, and everything's fake about her. There's no real originality to anything going on. And a lot of the ways this movie's filmed and the soundtrack to it and the score to it, it feels like something straight out of like the mid-2000s. It doesn't feel fresh or new. It's weird that this even really got put out during this current time. But in the end, it does have a happy ending. It has what you expect from it. If you're someone going into this movie and you're expecting it to be kind of what it looks like, what it's billed at on its surface, I think you can enjoy it. I think it's pretty quick. It's an hour and a half long. It's consumable, like I said. But for me, there's just not enough there. Acting's fine, script's mediocre, production's okay. Just a lot of it's right down the middle. I'd have to give this movie a 3.5 out of 10. Wasn't expecting a lot out of it, and I didn't get a lot out of it. So if you check this movie out on Netflix, let me know what you thought about it. There's not a lot coming out right now, so it has a big audience potentially. I saw it was trending on there in the top films. So if you check this movie out, let me know what you thought about it. Maybe you liked it a lot more than me. Maybe you didn't try to read into it as much as I did and you just took it for what it is. So leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.